ya ya ho, ya ya hey, ya ya ho, ya ya hey, hey willy way oh hana, hey willy way oh hana. Our people at one time burned the valleys, the meadows, the forest, especially once it started raining, to clear off the duff so you could see more acorn. And for plant growth, for specific qualities for different types of plants. So that's what we have to do. The oaks, the black oaks need low intensity fire, and we've got some work to do. We had a group from North Fork, the North Fork Mono tribe, and their TANF program, the Tribal Assistance for Needed Families. They pass on knowledge to people, to us, to their children. Machixasu, Manuhu. My name's Irene Vasquez, and I am Southern Sierra Miwok Nation tribal member. And I work here in Yosemite National Park as a cultural ecologist. A group from North Fork today came and helped tend the grove and plant some new young saplings so that they could continue to take care of these trees and come up with their grandchildren and to hopefully gather more acorn, because acorn is our spiritual delicacy, our food. It was at one time our main food staple, sustained us for generations, for hundreds of years. These holes that are in the bedrocks, the granite here, were made by our people because they would pound it, and they would pound the acorn to make really good flour, and it's a big process. It takes a long time, thankfully, because otherwise it might be all eaten up.
We're from a big family, and we stayed with our grandmother, and she had a spring below the house. We had no power, no water, so we had a spring down there, and we'd haul water from there. But halfway down there was a big pounding rock, and that's where she used to pound acorn, and we'd help her. There was a big black oak right by the house, and we'd get all those acorns first. We'd all help. And then we'd sit outside on these Levi blankets, we'd crack acorn, and when it's time to peel, we'd peel it.
That's also like something that we are trying to restore, is people's knowledge and understanding that old traditional sound, that way of pounding it on the granite is not so much done so much today like that.
I don't want my kids to forget it neither, and somehow document it, and so that way they don't forget it, because I know life sometimes you get caught up in it sometimes, and especially living in the city, and they're just caught up in so many different things where you forget about stuff, and I don't want that to happen. So if we do stuff daily, they'll never forget it. It'll be like habit. And that's what I want them to teach their kids, so that way they won't have to work so hard on trying to keep it here. It'll be embedded in their souls and the way they do things daily. So that way they can pass it on, and to their children. And hopefully it goes from their children to their children and grandchildren, and so on and so forth.
At one time, our people managed Ahwahnee, Yosemite Valley, with a lot of good fire on the land. It would make it easier to find acorns, of course.
Fire is super helpful for the oak trees. Have you ever tried looking for small things in tall grass? If you burn it all off, it's easier to find all the acorns underneath when you get rid of the leaves and the grass. And it helps dry the acorns out a little bit in that initial process, because theoretically, it should be a light, fast fire.
Here's another one that's, the hole. Old, bad. Look at the little hole. Little insects have been in there. Little hole in this one. So, all hollow, not so good. Ooh, cracked a little bit. But if you stored this in the sun, it could dry out and you could still use it, no waste. So that's not a good acorn for eating. But if you want to make a sapling, you want an acorn that's like looks like it's alive and green. So a lot of the acorn we collected last year, we collected a little earlier. This is how they plant naturally too. They fall into the dirt, and if the conditions are right, if they can get through the leaf duff and they can grow. But they've had some struggles these past few years where the regeneration rate is very poor in the valley. So there's something missing.
The heat and smoke from the fire goes up and kills off the mistletoe, which is a parasite to the plant. It also helps keep the insect population down that would be damaging to the acorns or the oak trees, the oak gall wasps and things like that that lay their eggs in the oak branches. So fire is super important to recycling nutrients, helps the oaks take them up a little bit faster, helps keep the plant populations down in oak trees, helps keep insect populations down in the oak trees. And it also acts like an inoculation. The trees that survived the fire are now a little bit stronger. And so it just helps keep the forest healthy.
And you cook every day, of course, with sticks and things. You had a fire running all the time. And it's good smoke going up into the trees to help kill off some of the mistletoe, and that was just a part of life. But we're trying to bring some more of that back. We are doing our part. We're trying to clear up some of the dead and down sticks and wood debris and make piles. We burned 60 burn piles. We couldn't do a whole broadcast burn because it would burn too hot and maybe scorch and hurt these trees. So it takes time to bring back fire. This grove hasn't seen recorded fire in recorded history.
So now we finally got the tribal stewardship program in here, cleaned up a lot of the ground litter from away from the trees and just the whole general area, and got some nice burn pile areas that recycled a lot of those nutrients back in the ground. And now they're coming back in and planting new baby trees and putting cages around them to protect them from deer later on.
At one time, our people were here doing active tending to these groves. Some might say they're orchards. That's how we look at them. These fruit are like, you took care of your trees because they provided so much to you. They were a main food staple. There's just too many parts about today that were cool and awesome. Looking out and seeing all these great, tribal people who are connected to this place, feel welcomed in the groves, looking for acorn, planting future babies, trees. That was fun.